people. I'm Shirley Lin. Today I'm really honored that my guest is Joanna Lei, who is managing partner of Azure Management. Am I saying it right?
Absolutely right, Shirley. Thank you.
Well, she was also the former vice president of American Broadcasting Company, ABC TV, and when she came back to Taiwan, she has been in politics, a legislator. She spent 16 and a half years in the U.S. and 7 years in Singapore, but the last 3 years was in between Singapore and Taiwan. Well, welcome, Joanna. Can I call you Joanna?
Absolutely. And that was a great thumbnail sketch about my life.
Really? Okay. Well, first of all, you know, I believe that when you were in the States, you started off at ABC as a research editor.
Correct.
But then only in a short 7 years, you became the vice president. How did you do it?
By working like a crazy person.
I'm sure.
But also, when I went into ABC strictly from the academia background, I was at the University of Pennsylvania. I was hired out of school. When I first went into ABC, it was a time of turmoil. Traditional broadcast television was challenged by cable left and right. All of a sudden, everything we put on the air needs to be closer to the audience, and we needed to adopt new disciplines such as market research and better understand what the audience wants and needs. And a researcher like me had an unusual opportunity because I was able to help people help the decision makers at the company find out how to make new approaches and new access to the public base. And we invented a lot of new methods which were very interesting at that time and still very interesting at this time by adopting knowledge-based decision-making into a traditional, very gut-feeling kind of decision-making process. I stood out from other executives and got one after another opportunities to make a difference.
Did you take this personality after your father, maybe?
Probably.
You know, aggressive and take initiative.
Yeah, that's an interesting observation. In the traditional culture here, people see me as pretty aggressive and oftentimes taking leadership position. But in the United States, they saw me as a really good girl. In the sense that when we have a need, for example, the company really needed to find out what the young people would like to watch in terms of network news, I would be the one who said, let me do it. And I take the responsibility. I went out and got the responses, brought it back, reported it back to the decision-making process without really challenging whose judgment is right or wrong. Let me put a contrast here. Traditionally, in the network business, people are proud to have a golden gut. Like, I know what Americans want. My decisions are better than yours because my gut is better than your gut feeling. When I went in through a knowledge approach that's less threatening, non-aggressive to that sense. So every time when I started talking about a new direction, it was always based on a very clear understanding, almost like having a mandate from people to speak on their behalf. This mandate from people give me a very different inroads into the decision-making process, which is non-threatening, non-aggressive.
Mm. So it looks like you are a risk taker, and also you like to make sure that you let everybody hear the voices of the people themselves.
Yeah. And I think I was very lucky.
Yeah.
If I went into the network business in its golden age, then nobody would listen to a foreign student who just got in. Who is Joanna? Who does she think she is? You know, how dare would she come and tell us what to do? And that would be the response. But when I went into the network business, network was in turmoil. Network was being challenged. Network needs to know what the future was, or at that time they needed to know. So they were less protective, less defensive, and they were more open and minded. And a researcher like me got the unthinkable opportunity to ascend in a network business.
Mm-hmm. I mean, that was rare, and